So last time, we've got a hand up there.
No, I just started the recording.
Oh, okay.
Thanks, Brother Rex.
Yeah, thank you, Brother Rex. Yeah, so we're going back to the magnificent creator and masterful Moses, the presentation that we did last time, because there's so much to get through, and we're reading about Moses' interactions with God and when he was transfigured. But it goes on really more than that. It's also Enoch's interactions when he was also with God through what we know throughout our scriptures, and especially in the seal book. And I think last time we started to read the seal book pretty much from the start.
Yeah.
And we got up to the end of chapter 2 because it's a very short chapter. But because chapter 3 is so huge, we've left it to begin now, and we won't get through today, but we'll go until the time permits. And
that at a future time,
we'll continue on at a future time. But this is just to also give us the opportunity to reflect on the words that we have read in the seal book. And there's always something new that pops up that, when we read things that something we didn't see or we didn't understand fully. And when others comment and share their knowledge as well. So, and this is to share the knowledge with all that listen to this presentation, maybe at a future time through the internet. And if you need to, you can pause at any time and read the words on the screen and reflect on those words too. But we'll continue on today with chapter 3 of the Seal Book of Moses. And we're going to read the introduction first. Do you want me to read the first one?
No, yeah. I can read it if you like.
Yeah, okay.
This is chapter 3, and this is the introduction part that's printed just above where verse 1 starts. Having been Moses caught up from the principal, saw the angel Ahiah become miserable, and proposed to himself that all humanity would also be miserable, just as he, and with that began to lie and deceive the first parents of mankind. Eve and Adam succumb under the influence of this evil being that was expelled from heaven. Adam receives the priesthood of the Son of God, and with him the law of the priesthood and the promise about his righteous seed after him. Abel fulfills the requirements required by law, for how much Cain is induced for priestly tricks and commences false worship among his fellow men. Abel becomes the first prophet to seal with blood his work on earth. Seth is born and spreads the gospel and the priesthood through his offspring. The Seal Book of Moses, as I said earlier, the introduction. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, and something stood out to me then that I hadn't really thought about before, in that bit at the bottom there, that Abel became the first prophet to seal with his blood the work on earth. And I hadn't thought about him being the first prophet before. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Seal his blood.
Yeah,
with his blood. The first prophet to die then.
Or murdered. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he was the first person. Okay. I always thought Adam, and I'm pretty sure Adam was the first. Okay. It so happened that Moses was caught up on a mountain extremely high and came to Mount Zion in the heavenly Jerusalem, and obtained knowledge of all things that were from the beginning, began to record what he saw and heard in the seal book that was found by Hilkiah, together with the book of the law in the days of Josiah, king of Judah, which Lehi brought into this land beyond the sea, in order to preserve its record for future generations of priests of the holy order of the Son of God in the final part of the fullness of times.
Now,
there's some references there that if you want to pause the screen and look up whatever book you have related to those references. Yeah.
Right. But at this particular time, whilst we're in the presentation, we would like to have others read the verse as it appears either on the screen, or if you've got your seal book with you, read it directly from the book. Because the more we share our time together, the more we learn things. And I was touched by this particular reading because it reminded me of the Bible's references as well, with Hilkiah and Judah and the finding of the book of the law under the temple altar where the restoration of the temple was being done. Yeah. And it's quite exciting to read that. And I think it's in two places in the Old Testament.
Yeah.
We'll come up with those.
Well, it has one reference later. Here. There's one reference at the bottom there, 2 Kings chapter 22, verses 8 to 20. But it's also in 2 Chronicles chapter 34.
Okay. Now
those that want to read. And it goes into more detail, actually, in 2 Chronicles.
And you know, you read of Shaphan, the father of Lehi, and you read about Lehi's brother too. So I'll let you figure that one out as you go further on.
Lehi's father.
Yeah, Lehi's father and his brother.
And his brother, yeah.
Yeah, his brother is mentioned.
Okay, now, do you want me to read this one? Yep.
Well, you read that one, and then we'll
ask someone
for
else.
A volunteer after this one.
It was then that Moses passed to be in a great universal meeting in which Ahiah, the angel whose name means brother of Jehovah, greater leader who covered his expansion in the class of anointed cherubim, chief commander of the flaming stones, until the day he was deposed from his office and the supervision of heavenly visits to the sons of man, was delivered to the angel Gabriel, who commanded them for by the too much generations of Israel, when they were walking by the circuit of the heavens, which chariots of fire visited the prophets of God, full of wisdom and proceeding from the highest caste of the order of the stars d'Alva, had full access to Mount Zion until the day he overturned the old covenant and vehemently accused the great Jehovah of usurping the rights of free will in all beings created by him in the vast expanse of the universe. For how much he himself came seeking to destroy free will of man from the beginning.
Okay.
There's a lot in that.
Yeah, there's a lot in that. Any comments? Did anything, touch your curiosity as we were reading there? There's obviously, to me, much more about the things that were happening in those days. And perhaps we realise if it was happening then, many of these sort of things are happening right now, even in heaven. No doubt it's a very busy action that happens there continually and all the time.
Yep. We've got a hand up.
Okay.
Yep, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead, Mom.
I was just wondering the stars d'Alva, what that is.
I was going to
I'm
comment.
uncertain. Yep.
I was going to comment on that also. That's something that's always been interesting to me about what that actually is, and then also about, the Ahiah, the chief commander of the Flaming Stones.
Yeah,
I mean, there's so much here that I think there's so much more information here that to be had, but for now, I guess this is what we have. But and I also thought about how Ahiah accused God of doing what he was going to do. Isn't that the way evil always works? Accuse someone of doing something, and you've either already done it yourself or you turn around and do it yourself. So anyway, those just some thoughts there. Thank you.
Yeah, this reading does promote lots of questions in your mind, doesn't it? And I think as we continue to understand, and as time goes on, we do get little insights into the understandings of some of these things. You know, the chariots of fire and all of those things that somewhat in our mind is not an exact and true situation, but we do sort of come to some peace in our thinking as we understand and as that expands. Was there another?
Yes. Go ahead. There was another
comment. Hand there.
This is Melva. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can, Sister Melva, and it's a delight to hear you too. Thank you.
It's good to be back on here again. In the past, Brother Mauricio has referred to some descriptions in the Old Testament that are difficult to understand. And an example being the chariots of fire visiting the prophets. It's like even in the book of Revelations, they didn't have words to describe things that the writer didn't have the words to describe things that were unknown to them. How, I mean, we think of spacecrafts and things now. We are living with them. We've grown up hearing about them and we see them. So when I read about the chariots of fire visiting the prophets of God, I think of the lights that we have seen at the refuge that can be all across the sky, moving up and down, across all over the place. I mean, they are not normal things that happen in the sky, like with satellites and things like that. So I would think of those even as could be described as chariots of fire, the things we have seen. And so what are they? It's really difficult to explain, even with our language today, but they're like, basically, I guess we could say they're like balls of light, and so but they're moving across the sky. So if you think of in the old days, the chariots that were on earth, then these were like chariots. They were something moving across the sky, but they were lit up. So chariots of fire is a fairly good description of those incidents. And then the circuit of the heavens, I think, is a similar idea, that there's the circuit of the heavens. There's just so much we don't know. We've got these beings in advanced transportation moving across the skies, and there's an order to it, though. It isn't haphazard. And so I can think of it as being a circuit. And so anyway, that's just a little bit that I wanted to share on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Melva, because, we are all limited in our understanding. And, I recall the words bubbles of light that have been explained, by those in Brazil that have seen these, like yourself. So we struggle to put it in our own language, and our thoughts of chariots of fire probably take us back to the film, the 10 Commandments with Moses on the chariot in a big race and thundering down a track. So anyway, but we all have different things, and our growing understanding of this will probably be filled in as time goes along. Thank you.
But I just wanted to comment that the Book of Enoch almost gives a similar account to that circuit of the heavens and the flaming stones and the anointed cherubim, which is quite interesting to read if anyone hasn't read that. But one thing, go ahead. Got a comment?
Well, this is Bob. I'm sorry, Darren. You seemed to stop abruptly when I raised my hand. I didn't mean that.
That's okay. Go ahead.
Okay, well, as long as you were finished, I just
Yep.
wanted to say that the sealed book has rekindled interest in the heavens, in our universe, because, you know, sometimes we don't even look up, you know, and see the stars and what we can see. But the Bible is one thing we need to remember is that God named the stars. He named the stars. And if you ever followed the writings in the 1800s, there was a group of people who, a lady, I can't remember her name, and then some other authors after that, said because God named the stars, he left the gospel, the story of the gospel in the constellations. It's very interesting. And the stars have, the constellations, of course, are made of stars, but each star has a name and a meaning attached to it. And so if Adam was walking in the garden or in looking at the stars, he could begin to see the story of the gospel all the way from the birth of Christ to his resurrection and the gathering of the saints and the final overthrowing of Satan. And it's totally amazing. And so I'm thinking that it says the order of the stars, the alva, it's important. I can't say what it means, but there's a lot of information that has been lost.
Yeah.
And I think hopefully some of this will be restored more as the sealed book, as the pages get translated, the parts that haven't been translated yet.
Mm.
But anyway, I just find it fascinating. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Brother Bob.
Thank you, Brother Bob. Yeah. And I did read somewhere in one of the books that I read that if these stars do not rise at a certain time or they get rebuked by God for not doing what they should be doing at the right time, which is interesting. So another thing that stood out to me here in this verse, it said just after stars Alva there, obviously it's a higher it's talking on, had full access to Mount Zion until the day he overturned the old covenant. So that old covenant, would that mean the Old Testament covenant, or is that another covenant that we're probably not aware of? That's interesting.
I would think that more
Yeah.
than the
Yeah.
Old Testament. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So that's quite interesting to know that there was a change in a covenant there somewhere. Okay.
Now, next, verse 3,
Yep.
I'm going to look for a volunteer. Do we have someone who reads that? I mean,
Would like to
would
Chap-
like to read
yeah.
at least to.
Verse 3. Yep. Got a hand up there.
Yeah, I'd be glad to read.
Thanks.
Thank
Brother
you,
Rex.
Brother Rex.
Yeah, good.
And so, because he had been full of pride and vanity, assumed an air of grandeur, and came to desecrate his own wisdom by supposing in his heart that he would be accepted by God in the highest and immaculate cradle of creation, after arousing appreciation of a vast multitude of followers, first of those whom he led astray in the heavens, and now on earth. And so he longed to return to the holy mountain of meeting and to take his place among the council of the heavens, which are above the holy angels in the likeness of God, but beneath the sovereign Lord, the Almighty, which cannot overrule the ordinance established by him in the heavens, of that the dominions of the earth would be in subjection to his son Ahiah, when then it even before the foundation of the world that was given the dominions of the kingdom of mankind, and with that he came to be in Eden, the garden of God.
Yeah.
So
Thanks,
what I'm getting there is that even though who we know as Satan was kicked out of the highest cradle of heaven, he still, because it was given him from the beginning, it sounds like, control over the earth and mankind. He still has that, ability or authority, I guess.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was wondering whether, because Satan had been given so much control over so many things,
Authority, yeah.
yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Thanks. Thanks for that. That it might have got to his head a bit, and he thought he had the entitlement that Jesus had, Christ had, that he should have everyone, when God, he had that fallout with God, but he wanted to bring souls, but he wanted the glory, not
But
God had given the glory.
Yeah, but also in taking the agency away
and
of mankind,
yeah, that's right.
that all would come to worship God.
Yes,
but it would be more not by their own free choice.
yes,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah. So I think that's probably what started.
Yes,
all that.
I guess so.
Yeah,
Free agency had a
and-
big role in that, I guess. And but thank you, Brother Rex. That was that's
very
good.
good.
Now,
Yeah.
verse. Any other comments on verse 3? No.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
So
There's some
we'll go to-
references there for those that are watching this a later time, and they can look up those
the Old
references
Testament,
too.
Ezekiel, there's a good one, and
Yep.
yep,
And
I'm not
Isaiah.
familiar with the one in
Okay.
Isaiah.
I'll do this one if you want. Yep.
Okay.
Being that man had been created in the image of God, reflecting in itself its divine attributes. And we're learning a lot about that now through the Seal Book, about the divine attributes of God, namely love, wisdom, creative potential, and justice, and had also been created according to its likeness, thus obtaining characteristics similar to the image of its creator, coming to be an immortal creature. For how much were subject to themselves all creatures that move in heaven, on earth, and in the sea, but they had been commanded to fertilize and fill the earth and to expand the boundaries of Eden. Yeah. And that's interesting, where it says here, obtaining characteristics similar to the image of its creator, coming to be an immortal creature.
Yeah.
That's interesting, isn't it? So
one other thing that sort of stood out to me too, in that reflecting in its divine attributes, namely love, wisdom, creative potential, and justice.
Yeah.
Now, the difference between Jesus in his offerings to the Creator is that mercy was the thing that overrides or can override justice. Well, it does with the atonement, doesn't it? So I just noted that was one thing that stood out to me.
I think we've got another comment.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just wanting to comment on the very last part that I've never really caught before. It says it commanded to fertilize and fill the earth and to expand the boundaries of Eden. So does that mean the whole earth now is Eden?
Yeah, well, that's interesting.
It's like, whoa, wait a minute. My vision of the Garden of Eden is this beautiful little place somewhere. But this kind of, it brings in something different, that expand the boundaries of Eden as the earth was populated, I guess.
Yeah.
But, well, anyway.
Yeah,
maybe there was a boundary there that when Adam and Eve first, they only had a certain area that they were permitted.
But I imagine the earth was then connected differently than it is now with the islands and the seas and the way it's. Interesting to think about. And thanks for bringing that point up, Brother Bob.
Yeah. Was there another comment that came in then?
Yes, it's Sister Renee.
Sister
Oh,
Renee.
Sister
Oh,
Renee.
we didn't know you were there.
Welcome.
Sorry.
Sorry, I was a little bit late.
That's okay.
Um,
No, good on you.
I just, so I wanted to just, I remembered a scripture just a moment ago that mercy cannot rob justice. So when Jesus made the atonement, it was with both mercy and justice, but he is the one that paid the price of justice.
Yes.
So if, if it wasn't necessary for him to do that, to pay the price for justice, then we would not have had mercy either, because the two actually go together.
Right.
Yeah. And then I also wanted to say how much I loved what Sister Melva said and earlier about the chariots of fire, and I will be quiet now.
No, that's fine.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Renee. And,
Yeah.
That's very good.
Lovely.
Okay.
Okay. We'll go to
So
the
we're
next one.
going-
Shall we get someone to read?
Yeah,
the
we'll
next?
see if we can get a volunteer for verse 5.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll get it up on the screen here.
Okay, we
yeah,
hear a response.
yeah,
Thank
go
you.
ahead.
Well, I thought Sister Renee was going to read.
Oh,
That's
No, because I'm on my phone, I can't see the word.
oh, sorry. That's
Ah,
okay.
okay.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Renee.
Okay, we just saw your hand. Well, I'll read.
Okay.
Okay, verse 5.
Yep.
But it came to pass that Ahiah, when he sought to do that which was evil before God, was cast out of the highest and immaculate cradle of the heavens. Yea, from the holy mountain of God to heavenly Zion. However, he had not yet been expelled from the heavenly realms, since he periodically made himself present at universal meetings in order to present a report of his administration concerning this world, which was under his dominion.
wow.
Yeah.
There's a lot in that.
Oh, yeah.
Well, just looking at it again, it's like
Yeah.
Mauricio uses this, Mauricio uses this phrase in his prayers, the
Right.
highest and immaculate cradle of the heavens. But this says he was expelled from the heavenly realms.
Yeah.
Now, see, now where was it say?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's halfway
From the
down.
holy body to heavenly Zion.
Yeah, I saw that.
And
Yeah.
read that. He was expelled from the
Yeah.
holy mountain of God to heavenly Zion.
Wow.
I don't know. It's blowing my mind today.
Yeah. Well, that goes to show there's a higher
Yeah,
point. The holy mountain of God is a lot higher than heavenly Zion. Then, by the looks of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow.
But don't forget, we read earlier
Yeah.
that he took a number of the angels with him,
Yeah.
and
deceived them.
that, as I recall, it's a third of the hosts of heaven. Is
Yeah.
that correct? Is my memory right on that? And
I think you're right.
so there's a lot involved,
Mm.
and his authority must have been fairly great. Certainly beyond anything we can imagine.
And from what I've read, because he was given this world to control, as it says in the last part of the verse, this world which was under his dominion, I think that was done before he transgressed, and God promised, or that was a promise then, that he would have this world for his dominion, but because of that promise couldn't be broken, that's why he had that dominion of this earth now.
Right.
That's what I think anyway. If there's someone else has got
Any other comments on that?
But that's what I would think would have happened. Thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, this is Bob. I was just thinking, now I'm not sure if it addresses your question, Brother Darren, but this is probably why that we're still trying to, well, some Christians, I mean, we're trying to expel Satan from this earth.
Yep.
It's the only way that this can be done is for people to not give Satan dominion,
Yes.
power or authority or license or whatever we want to call it. That heaven itself, you know, the powers of heaven cannot come down and clean up the mess here. It has to be done kind of from within.
Yeah.
I guess is that Satan will lose. The only way he'll lose control of this is if we don't honor him. You know, that well, I think you get what I mean. It seems like it has to be done from within. That's why Jesus was born as a child.
Yeah.
To show us how it could be done.
Yeah.
And we're still trying to figure this out. But anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Brother
Thank
Bob.
you, Brother Bob. And I guess that's why when Jesus said, "Be of good cheer, because I've overcome the world," that's because he was able to do that and not let those things overcome him. The feelings, the evil feelings that each one of us have, and it's a struggle sometimes when things are not right, and we're going to learn a bit of that through the class today that Sister Renee has written about anthroposystemina, or sister. Yeah, I think I'm not very good at saying it, but it's interesting to know that this is going to be one of the ways that we overcome Satan.
And I recall, of course, somewhere in the scriptures over the years that sort of is embedded in my mind that righteousness will be one of the things that will prevent Satan from expanding his boundaries and certainly keep him in a prison. Maybe that's going to be the prison whilst the 1,000-year reign is on.
But I think after that 1,000 years, when he's set free as well, that it will be up to us to be able to overcome what he would throw at you.
Correct.
To try to
I would think
dislodge your feelings.
And anybody else want to comment on that? That.
Go ahead. Yep.
Yeah, this is Rex again. I just was thinking about the righteous, and a lot of Christianity believes that Christ is just going to come back and basically clean house, set everything straight. And not that he doesn't have the power to do that, but as we know, there has to be a righteous people for him to return to. And that's what we're working towards. And I think you look out at society, you watch the news, which I don't recommend anymore. Just don't watch the news, because everyone's at each other's throats, and you wonder how we're ever going to get there. But I think that's the enemy trying to get to us. So it's keep on the straight and narrow, and work on righteousness from within. And as Brother Bob was saying. Thank you.
Thanks, Brother Rex. I totally understand your remarks there, and that's the way I sort of see things as well. So okay.
I just noticed then one of the references is our. I didn't plan that. That was something that I just picked out of random yesterday. But it's got our
call to worship.
Call to worship reference
down the bottom.
That's interesting.
Now, verse 6. Now, if we have a volunteer, that would be great, and we'll see how we go.
If not, we'll continue. I'll go on to verse 6 here. We've got 7 underneath, but 6 we could just do the one for now. Okay. You want? Oh, we've got a volunteer there. Yep.
All right, you got Bob again.
Okay, Bob.
Yep.
Brother Bob.
There,
Good.
verse 6, therefore, it was at the beginning of human history on earth that after falling from his high position in the heavens, he became wretched before the children of God, and thereby proposed himself in subjecting all humanity to being unable to fully enjoy its free will, and thus condemn them to the same misery and decay that had been condemned.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So
Wow.
that's as I understand it too. You
Mhm.
know that Satan wanted all humanity to follow him, and
Yeah.
because he offers a way which seems so happy and bright and colorful, commanding, and all that sort of thing, but in the end, that leads you down a trail that does not bring that, but it becomes misery and all things that are not good.
Yeah. I often, excuse me, I often wonder that those third of angels that went with Satan and were deceived, I wonder if any of them at some point said, hang on, this is not what I signed up for. And they
Yes.
wanted to return back.
Yeah.
And how miserable those angels would have been and still are probably. So,
If
that's
we don't
interesting.
think about the
Yeah.
support that Satan has with
Yeah.
his angels, we do think of the holy angels of God that, are sent to, give information and inspire people to do good things. But no doubt Satan's angels do the same.
Yeah.
In reverse, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that old serpent went on to deceive his brethren who lived with him in the heavens, and so soon became an opponent to God's plan for this world. It happened then that he went on to deceive the first human couple still in Eden, the paradise of God, coming to become the father of every lie, and so was called devil. Yeah, there you go.
Any comments on verse 7? 6 or 7
no.
there together.
I'll comment in a second if someone else hasn't. Yeah.
Okay.
Can I just make a comment?
Yeah, go.
Yeah, sure.
I recently did some research on lying, and it's really startling what we find out. The experts in the field, psychology, say that everybody tells a lie like 2 to 4 times a day. I mean, this is everybody, Christians, everybody. And so it just must delight Satan, from the little white lies we tell, to the big lies. It's like, what? You can see why God is so upset at a lie, because it destroys the truth.
Yeah.
And here we're trying to clamor back to get back into understanding the truth, because we've just been so immersed in what's what's not true. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Brother Bob, because we think there of how holy is the Lord, how holy is God, and these lies that sneak into the things that we say and the things that we do keeps us that distance. But we've got to get rid of every one of those things before we can come into the presence of God. And we know that Jesus is the way that we do that. But we can stop the lies before they begin when we have it revealed. I mean, when it comes out in the open, that's not what Satan wants, so that we can see it and then we can understand, hey, this is wrong, Yeah.
I think there was another comment. Was there? Hand up?
Yes, there's me. I was just a bit slow to get on there, so this is backtracking a little bit. So in Genesis chapter 3, in verse 2, Satan is begging, I guess, for the Lord to let him be the savior of the world.
Yeah.
And he came to me saying, behold, send me, I will be thy son, and I will redeem all mankind, that one soul shall not be lost, and surely I will do it. Wherefore give me thine honor.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so it was going to be by force.
Yes.
And he's still, of course, managing to tempt and persuade a lot of people, but at least we have a free agency to follow Christ. But I just think it's interesting and something we need to remember, that Satan was wanting to redeem the world basically by force, and then the glory be to him. So it's just interesting to see human nature, and that there's times when it's easy for us to be deceived by that kind of an attitude. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thanks,
Very
Melba.
well said,
That reading there, I went through Genesis when I was looking, but I sort of skipped over that. Well, it didn't stand out, but now I see the importance of that Satan was wanting to be the one to take the honor,
Yeah.
and that was not to be.
Excuse me.
Okay.
Yep.
We'll go on to
Okay.
8.
On to 8.
Yeah.
Do you
Now
want to
we've
do
got
this one?
3
It's very
here.
hard to read
Now,
because
Yep. I'll read one, but do we have someone first who could perhaps read?
it may be too
8?
small for some people on the
Oh,
screen.
I see. If
Yeah.
the writing is
maybe,
too small.
maybe we'll do these ones. Yeah,
Okay, all right.
because I can read
I
it from
can
here.
read. I can
Oh,
read.
okay.
all
Yeah,
right.
thank
Go
you,
ahead,
Brother Rex.
Rex, yep.
Do you want me to read all of it or just one? Or
As far as you
Yeah,
would
as
like.
far as you feel comfy in reading. Okay, thank you.
it was then after Adam and Eve had succumbed to the wiles of the devil that God proceeded to curse them. For before that, they lived on dropped my pen. They lived on a higher level on the spiritual plane.
Yeah.
Though they were made of the dust of the earth, in Eden, they were clothed with spirit and therefore immortal. But as soon as they sinned, God clothed them with mortal skin. Very interesting. Therefore, were cursed to suffer in the inclemency of time, pain, sweat, and all sorts of evils that are subject to mortal flesh. However, the Father of tender mercies provided a means of redemption by which the children of Adam could return to their initial glory and again have full communion with God as they had in the beginning. This providence being the very priesthood of God, that is according with the order of his Son, being therefore called at the beginning of all times the priesthood of the Son of God. Therefore the gospel became the way for all to return to God. The scriptures of the holy prophets are the iron rod extending along this trajectory that intertwine through a dense mist of darkness. Being the priesthood is the safeguard which lamp to light the way in the darkest night and keep us on the right course until we reach the tree of life, which is in the paradise of God beyond the thresholds of this mortal existence, and whose fruits correspond to the full happiness of attaining the reward of eternal life.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Lots of imagery there. Yeah.
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 But it gives us the outline and the basics of what the situation is, and then perhaps we can understand it better. And I understand it as it is presented there. Thanks very much for reading that, Brother Rex.
Yeah. Thank you.
Any other comments by others on this particular reading?
Go ahead.
This is Bob.
Yes,
Yep.
brother.
The one thing I remember Mauricio saying when he was introduced to Moroni, Moroni said, "I come from the presence of God."
Wow.
And so it's just like wherever God is, it's
Yeah.
amazing to think that Moroni, being this I think Sister Renee's lesson addresses it some, is that he has been purified. I can't, whatever the right word is, to travel from the presence of God. And here he stands in the presence of Mauricio.
Yeah.
I hope he probably, no, never mind. I was just thinking about the high priest when he went out to make the sacrifice of the goat. He had to purify himself before he came back into the camp.
That's right.
Yeah.
I wondered if Moroni has to purify himself, but that's probably, don't think about that. It's just,
Yeah.
I think Moroni has, it's just totally amazing to think he could come from the presence of God and then come down here to this earth. Thank you.
Yeah. And I was only last night reading some of the witness statements, the 3 witness statements, and it's amazing that they said that the energy flowing through Moroni, and his eyes were like fire, and
in Renee's class.
yeah. But so that was interesting, that flows right through them. But we know that the priesthood of God is the pure and immaculate tongue, also the words that we speak, and those attributes that come from them as well. Yeah, the feelings.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Do you want to do this?
Yeah,
one?
I'll do this one if you like. And as soon as God had cast out the man of Eden, putting cherubim of guard and a flaming sword around to keep the way of the tree of life, then the Lord provided this priesthood to man in order to choose between good and evil. Otherwise, without the priesthood, man's way will be torturous, and his thoughts and inclination of his heart will be sensual and devilish most of the time. Since these words concerning this priesthood of the Son of God are those that the Lord told Moses that they are pure and true, and that they are not to be shown to anyone until the Lord orders a Moses in the last days, that he may reveal these words only to those who believe.
Yeah.
Wow, that's an interesting point there that I hadn't realised.
Yep. Yeah, there's a lot said in the book if you read that about only to those who believe, or
well,
those that will believe.
That's true, and you're also need a certain spirituality to understand, because otherwise it's like when the sealed book is read by someone who wants to look for faults in things, and it's also in the feelings that you have, and your genuine feelings of wanting to know what the Lord wants to tell you.
And that's casting your pearls to swine, I guess.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So,
anyway,
okay.
All right. Any other comments? Okay.
No, we'll move on.
Here we go.
Yep. Okay.
I just wanted to say quickly, I see Brother Peter and Brother Martin on the screen. So
we can't see them here. Yeah,
we can't see anyone on the screen. We only see the words. Okay. Yep. It's good to have them with us.
Yep. And thank you for joining. Yep. Okay. So we shall
go ahead with.
Yeah, go ahead. With
I can read this one if you want. And all the wisdom of God is manifested, for behold, all things were made according to the wisdom of him that knoweth all things. And if Adam and Eve had not transgressed, then they would have remained in the Garden of Eden in an immortal state, and yet would be with their perceptions wrapped in the innocence of the Spirit, which would not allow them to have children, and would never have joy because they did not know misery, not being able to decide for themselves the way of goodness because they did not know evil. But Adam fell, fulfilling the requirements of the Father to be fruitful and to fill the earth with his offspring, and the priesthood of the Son of God exists to make the people of the earth come to understand the plan of salvation and allow the children of the man to know how to wait for the Son of. And did I chop that off there? Did I? I can read what it says.
Yeah, we'll just quickly go to
Yeah,
that.
I'll go to that and I'll tell you what it says. I must have, when I copied that and put it on there, it mustn't have come with it. It's verse 15. Yeah, here we go. Maybe it's on the next page. Just have a look. No.
No.
Oh, there it is. It's in.
Oh, I
yeah,
see. It was
yeah,
half on
yeah,
one.
yeah. I'll
but
probably put it on because
complete
there was
on the
too
other.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, and we're up to the Son of God, who will come in the fullness of time to redeem from the fall those who believed in him, in order to become free of the yoke of sin and death, so that they may return again to the presence of the Father.
Right.
There we go.
Okay. And
Yeah.
a lot of information in that one,
Yeah.
you know, where we are shown and understand, you know, that the priesthood has a big part in the power that would also assist in the understanding to bring people back to the presence of God through Christ.
Okay. So do you want to do?
Yep.
Oh, yep. Go ahead. We've got a comment. Or?
That's Rex again. I was thinking how that related to a previous verse about, you know, how Adam and Eve were commanded to multiply, be fruitful and multiply and expand the borders of Eden. And that verse that we were just on basically said for that to happen, in order for that to happen, you know, Adam had to fall.
Right.
And so it's interesting. It's almost like, and I'm sure that God knew that that would happen from the beginning. But in that happening, you know, that allowed, you know, the priesthood to have their authority and their direction, and their, as we also read, there being the lamp or the light in the darkness to guide, you know, guide people through that mist of darkness, and to keep hold on the, you know, the rod of iron. So
Yeah.
thoughts there. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks,
Thank
Brother
you,
Rex.
Brother
Yeah.
Rex.
We need to be reminded continually that the Lord has, you know, all these things in place, and we've just got to understand that, you know, through humility and our feelings of care, not only for each other but also for the, you know, the poor and the needy, and to minister to the needs of others. It's all part of it, isn't it? And you understand that better when you see it presented this way.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Darren.
Yep. You were going to point something out here on the screen. You were pointing at the screen.
Okay. That the second line, and the priesthood of the Son of God exists to make the people on the earth come to understand the plan of salvation and allow the children of man to know how to wait for the Son of God.
Yeah. Right.
You know, in righteousness, and do those things which are pleasing, and wow, the blessings that come through that as well.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Now, what about, we'll call on any others that would like to read, perhaps some voices we haven't heard of yet? Just the one verse?
No.
Okay. Well, look, I'll ask Darren to
Okay.
read it. Yeah.
Okay. However, since the sin of Adam resulted in the degeneration of the divine nature in man, so now, with his mortal and fallen nature, no descendant of Adam would have strength to resist the wiles of the devil. For how much live in the world of humanity, that is, in disobeying God the Father, Adam subjected all his offspring under the influence of Satan. With this, men would be condemned to their bondage of sin and death forever. And that's the explanation of why.
That's the explanation. That's in black and white, and or blue and white.
Excuse me.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's
Any comments on that one? Okay, go on to 17. Darren.
okay.
I'm sorry, I'm a little slow. But you know, the Bible is an amazing book. There's a theme in the Bible that says, if you're obedient to the commandments, God will protect you. You know, and so
Yeah.
we're still trying to understand that.
Yes.
But I just thought that was, you know, there's glimpses of the fuller truth in the Bible that, of course, the sealed book expounds on, and so on, in the Book of Mormon, and so on. That's all. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, these things are set in place that we, and God's gone to a lot of trouble, because the end result is he wants all to come back into his presence, you know, and that's why, you know, we feel, oh, we get to a certain point and we're pretty good, and don't even bother with those that, you know, before we would cast off, because God wants everyone. And that's the thing. His great love is to be seen in things that he has set in place for us to discover, that you know, that we are aware of the needs of others, and that we don't be selfish, and that we do love one another, and genuinely, and that's where the lie on many come in. They want to be seen to be doing good, and be sort of promoted in their great reaching out, but in actual fact, their hearts are not really behind what they want to do. They're doing that for a shortcut, perhaps, to try and get into God's presence. But the heart is what the Lord sees, and you can't cheat what's in your heart, because it gives out what you do. Okay, thank you.
It's interesting about the designated seed that this verse we're going to read here as well.
Okay.
Okay. I'll read this one.
If you can, thanks.
It was then that God proposed to Adam that he would provide a deliverer from the bondage of sin and death, the designated seed. And beside that promise, God appointed Adam to be the first priest according to the order of his son, because the gospel began to be preached from the beginning, being declared by holy angels sent from the presence of God to Adam, and by his own voice, and by the gift of the Holy Spirit. And we'll just rewind what we were saying before about the declared by holy angels sent from the presence of God, which I think Bob mentioned before that Moroni came from the presence of God. So that's, you can understand what that would have been like.
Yeah, I think there's gems of information here for all of us to realise that the immensity and the detail that the Creator has put into each situation, so that this can be. And you know, if we are tempted and we fall, it's because we weren't keen enough to seek the good, and we've got to be able to do that continually.
Go ahead. There was a hand up, I think.
Yeah, it's me again.
Go ahead, Rex.
I think there's a key in here, key phrase in here. The gospel began to be preached from the beginning. And I don't think that all of Christianity understands that. There's a lot of folks out there that believe that the Old Testament is of no value, but what the truth is that it all points it all points to a Messiah, to a Christ, to, the plan from the beginning. And I don't know at what point I came to understand that, but I didn't always understand that either. So I think, that's a key for a lot of Christianity, a lot of mankind to come to understand. So that's all. Thanks.
Yeah.
No, very good, Rex. And each of us are also the same. We step by step and line upon line, we sort of get the picture, and that's what the Lord wants us to do. Once we see how the Lord has it planned, we can see the steps to become part of it, and it certainly is still not an easy track sometimes, because the circumstances that people become involved in and locked in sometimes will slow down their ability to be able to recognize some of the gems that we read here. But it is possible, and the Holy Spirit is of course available to each one. We've just got to ask.
Yes, true.
And so all things pertaining to the priesthood, including the high priesthood of the holy order of his only begotten, were confirmed upon the head of Adam by a sacred ordinance, and a decree was established in heaven and sent forth to remain in the world until the end. And the references there. But wow.
Yeah.
This sacred ordinance sent forth to remain in the world until the end of the world. Wow, that's another little gem there that we need to take in, and to realize that this is something very, very important in our understanding and in the enlightenment that the Lord has given to us.
Okay. I can do this one if my voice will hold out.
Yeah. Okay. Now, look. Once again, we'll ask,
all right,
because
okay.
we're almost coming to the point of cut off.
Yeah.
And
I'd say.
So, do we have a volunteer for the? Perhaps this will be a final reading once we get through.
I can read it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Brother Bob.
19. In its turn, God uttered the following sentence upon Satan and the church of God in all the times predetermined by him among his offspring. That is, those who take the side of Satan against God and his rule on earth and the seed of the priesthood of God, those to whom, under the promise of a covenant, they would receive the proper authority of the Son of God under the command and rule of the designated seed, who will bruise his head by the following promise. I will put enmity between you and the woman, between your offspring and his offspring, and he will bruise your head, and you will bruise his heel.
That's an interesting one. That I've always had troubles understanding that.
Can I comment? One of the constellations, I'm trying to remember which one, my memory's failing me, but it's the serpent. There's a constellation, Scorpio, called the serpent. And this is an illustration of how the gospel story is in the stars, as written by these men in the 1800s. That Scorpio, that constellation Scorpio, is trying to bite the sting of a man, another constellation called, what is it? It's a strange name, Orpheus, or there's another great man there, and the man is ready to stomp on the Scorpio, on the scorpion. So that depicts this great battle in the heavens, and it's just amazing. I mean, you can read about that, but this is an example of how the gospel in the stars was was written in the stars, and through the names that God gave the stars. So this fight, this enmity about bruising your head and bruising the heel, the Satan or the scorpion was trying to bite the heel of the man, and the man was trying to crush the head of the serpent of the scorpion. So anyway, thank you.
Yeah, thanks,
Another-
Brother
yeah,
Bob.
thank you, Brother Bob,
Yeah,
for that.
I think we all have a growing understanding of the meaning of that, because it appears in many parts of the scripture too.
It
Like
does,
I think, as I
just-
recall in,
Yeah.
was it in Isaiah? I think I read it as well.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah,
but-
and I think it's mentioned again in the seal book somewhere as well. I'm pretty sure.
yeah,
And also I just read that that reference there, the Genesis 3:21, the inspired version of the Bible, and it says exactly what that says on the screen there. So that's interesting.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I think Sister Renee has a comment.
oh,
Yeah,
okay.
go ahead.
Oh, thank you. I had to leave for a moment and I got back, but I appreciated what Brother Bob said. That's, it's a beautiful thing what the Lord did in the stars. And then it does tell the story. And also this scripture here, it is Jesus who is the designated seed,
Yeah.
and he crushed the head of Satan, who drew blood, which, that's the symbol that in Jesus being sacrificed, except it didn't work because he overcame Satan. So the
Yeah.
symbol is that, he bruises the head, but
Mhm.
Satan can only draw the blood, but then Christ drew all men unto him. So he had the victory over him through his sacrifice of blood. I guess that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah. Thanks, Renee.
Thank you, Sister
And-
Renee.
Yes, we appreciate your
Yeah,
understanding
yeah.
too on that, because mine is growing continually anyway. So, but
We're all learning.
yeah, but it's great to have the scriptures that we have presented for us, because it does give us a better view and understanding of what God has done for all of the creation that is for us.
Yeah. I think that's about time there. I
Okay,
think.
all right. Well, now,
For,
so
for this lesson today, but we'll continue on
yep. So we'll
from
pick
verse
this up
20
next time from
Yeah,
verse 20 on.
I've just made
Okay.
a note on that so,
Yep.
so that I don't forget.
And now we'll ask Brother Rex if we'll stop the